Hello.
Welcome
back to our third series, everybody.
Season 3.
Season 3. We did no
What
prep.
are we calling it? Well, we had a few plans for it, didn't we? We had a couple of things, but they haven't quite.
They're in the pipeline.
They're
in the works.
Yeah, just a couple of things haven't quite aligned for us to get started with the new season.
Not right now, but they are. Things are happening.
Things are happening.
And
things
take a bit of time.
And things do externally just take a bit more time.
And we're totally fine with having to wait for things.
Why don't we make this episode not necessarily the episode 1 season 3, but we could just do, like I mentioned it to you, of doing like a tie-in, a tie-over, like a check-in, and talk about, I don't know, just maybe we could do like a reflection.
We could do that, or we could have maybe like a. I know, but maybe because I was thinking, what if we did like a thing of let's look in at where we're both at right now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a check-in.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say you do this whole thing, and I'm like,
it's just what you just said. Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe with.
But everyone in the room's like, that's a great idea.
But maybe with some emphasis into like specifically maybe the last week.
Okay.
So
cool.
so then it's like we're reflecting, but then there's also a sense in a broader sense. But then there's also a sense of what's happened within.
That's a great idea.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm sure some naturally fun things will just crop
always
up.
Does.
And the time is 1 minute after 13 minutes past 1.
What? Say that again.
The time is 1 minute after 13 minutes past 1.
So it's 40 minutes past 1. Okay, let's make this one like a 40-minute and then
like a 45.
Okay, cool. So, why don't you start? Why don't you talk about...
Yeah, you start.
Okay, cool. This past week for me has been a really nice week. What have I done? So, we were in Manchester on the Monday. We went and stayed... Is that right?
Yeah.
Was that really last week?
Yeah, that was last year.
Oh my God. I'm like rubbish at keeping track of things like that. So
that time goes so fast.
It does go so fast, but at the same time, it feels like we were at the hotel ages ago.
Yeah.
But me and Mike went to Manchester and stayed at a hotel that was lovely for Mike's birthday.
Really nice. Yeah, a really nice surprise.
Yeah.
Stay in this really nice hotel.
It's just a gorgeous night, isn't it? It's like they've got a rooftop pool.
Yeah.
They've got like an amazing gym and a spa.
Oh, it's great. The older you get, specifically for us, I feel as if that whole thing of you have a pool. I mean, who doesn't like a pool?
Yeah.
Pools are awesome. And then you have a gym facility, which is really top
it's
class.
Top of the line.
And then you have a spa, which is amazing. You have a sauna. You have cold showers.
We don't even get treatments or anything. It's just using the sauna and the showers, and like they've got these like relaxation beds that are like curved to your body and stuff, and they're heated and it's beautiful.
And I say every time, I'm not going to get on them, because like you wake up, you do a workout, and then you get on them, and you basically, something happens to where your body locks to the chair for like at least 40 minutes. I think
it's lovely though.
It's so good.
So we did that on Monday, and that was lovely. And then we came back on Tuesday and got straight into podcast stuff. So that was kind of those 2 days spent doing that. And then...
We had a bit of trouble with the podcast, didn't we?
We had a few technical issues last week with the poddy, didn't we?
There was this, and it's all good because it's all a learning curve, but there was a bit of stress around it because it was late. It was late on, which was fine, because you can't always, the idea of us being together and being like, right, like should we hurry this up and get home so we can do the podcast? You can't always do that. But the video hadn't uploaded in its entirety. No. Which was a
and we didn't know until like the day after,
So then that's always a bit, that's a shame, because we put in such effort to get it.
Yeah.
But then we worked together and we figured it out, which was good.
And then let's see. So Wednesday, we had a lovely day on Wednesday. We played some tennis, which we've been doing kind of frequently, at least once a week. I'd say we'll go and try and do some tennis if the weather's nice, and that's really fun. It's a really good workout. And just feels like a fun, have fun to just go and play some tennis.
It's great fun.
I'm not any good. Mike thrashes me like every single time, and you're not even putting in 100%. But it's still just really fun to play together. And
I don't want to, say this flippantly, but I know I could beat Vanessa Williams.
Oh, but who's that? Vanessa Williams. Who's that? Is she a new tennis player?
No, it's our neighbour, Vanessa Williams. I don't think I've ever seen her play tennis. I'm sure that she. Yeah. I think I could crush her fairly easy.
Any amateur. But
That's funny. What? Who is it? The
Venus Williams. Venus and Serena.
And that's obviously. Do you remember there was that thing where I think it was some famous male tennis player? Was it McIlroy? Or someone said that. Is that right? Is he not even a famous tennis player?
McIlroy?
Is he a driver?
I don't know. Are you thinking of
McEnroe?
Are you thinking of
John McEnroe?
Right.
Yeah, and he did. I don't want to. Someone famous said like, oh, like a decent male player could beat Venus and Serena Williams.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
It was yeah. I don't know if it was him, but someone came out and said, and it was sparked this huge whole thing of like, it's like, well, and a good male player in any sport could beat the best of a woman's sport.
Yeah,
which was it sparked a load of
interesting
controversy.
Yeah, I was kind of.
I was making a little joke about that. That's what that whole thing was.
All right, I was a bit behind there. Yeah, I was having this conversation with a friend who works at a vintage shop, and I had an arm wrestle with him and lost. And it's funny because I work out, like I consistently work out and have done for like over a year, like muscle, like gaining muscle and weightlifting and stuff. Yeah. And he does nothing, like he doesn't work out at all, and he still beat me. Yeah. And it's just like, I wasn't surprised at that.
He should have really let you win. That would have been the gentlemanly thing to do.
No, I don't think that's gentlemanly.
Not like one of these, but like
No, he did. He gave me some time because he was like, but then it got to a point where I was putting in everything.
Right.
And he was just like, he had way more in the bag, like stored than me and stuff.
Well, he's a dude. He probably had
exactly. No, yeah, it's not shocking, and it's still it's still one of them, like, which just does go to show that like that's why men and women don't compete in stuff, because like women can put so much effort into weight training and building muscle and strength and conditioning, but then a man who might not do any of that just naturally has like more bone density, more muscle mass, more power and stuff. Yeah. But yeah. And then we did some filming in Bean on Wednesday for a comedy video for Mike.
That was a lot of fun.
Which was a lot of fun.
That's in the works right now, just being edited. It's in the last stages. And that was great because you sort of just came up. I always feel bad because at the minute I'm doing a lot of them just solo, obviously with my friend Ben who's doing the filming, but it was great because all of the ones that we've done that have been professional quality, I've just sort of said like, hey, do you want to help out with this vid? And
I'm always happy to help.
And it's great because you always just give 110 and it comes across.
I try my best.
It's a lot of fun doing it with you.
But yeah, and then Wednesday night I went to Petite Cafe with my friend Liv, Mike's sister. It's like a jazz bar, and we just sort of hung out there for a bit, and then we all got a Nando's.
Oh, that was great.
That was great.
So nice. I went to a little film meetup, which I can talk about. I can revisit this later.
Sure, yeah.
But the Nando's was great, wasn't it? Oh, so good.
Thursday I was just doing casual work stuff. I don't really remember much about the Thursday. I think
casual labour.
I think I met up with another friend on the Thursday evening, so I was doing work in the day, but then met up with a friend later on, which was really nice. If you're listening, she was saying that she was listening to the pods and stuff, so that's really nice. So if you're listening, hey. And then Friday.
I'm gonna get that boom boom boom.
I'm gonna get that boom boom boom. Friday is lost on me.
Friday.
Yeah, I would have just been doing work bits because Saturday I was in Cow for my pop up, and then Sunday I was at the Baltic Market But yeah, just a really good solid week of like a really nice balance, and of like nice things and then work stuff and yeah, lots of just nice things. And
balance is nice that you've mentioned that word, because like that's great to feel like internally you've done a lot of nice things that are to do with work,
definitely
work prep, but then with us like having time and meeting friends, which was really nice for me to see as well, because like I love spending time with you more than anything, but it's great to be like
on Saturday night we hung out with Kate as well, so that was another friend thing, so there was a lot more like nice Yeah.
It was a big wake-up call for me.
Oh, really?
Because I have no friends.
That's not true.
Nor would I want any. Because they just slow you down. You expose your vulnerabilities, and then they use that as weakness. I don't have friends. I have
colleagues.
No, I have people that I can get my grips into, and then just suck on. No, it was so nice to see, because it was great to see you going out and being like, this is fantastic. Like, where's Meg? She's out with some friends. That is a lovely thing for a partner to be able to be, and especially knowing as well that the people that you're hanging out with are good people, and it's not based around like,
it feels like it fills your cup up a bit rather than draining it.
Yeah, I love that. And it was a I was saying that stuff tongue in cheek, but it was nice to be. I was thinking like, it'd be nice. I should put some, I should have some time to maybe invest in some people, but not like, maybe in sort of trying to nourish new connections with people and new friendships. And I wonder how loud that truck will pick up on the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because I'm like, being with you is kind of my number one priority, and then it's kind of just being by myself, because I do like, I cherish that time, and I get along really well with myself, and I'm quite happy to do things like solo, and that's a nice thing, because it just feels like you're just sort of having that time to connect with yourself. There's no like social like pressure or but even so, even with saying that though, I think the best kinds of social relationships are the ones that are no pressure, and like you can just sort of hang out and chat and catch up, but then be like, talk about anything and everything, and I like that a lot, and I've definitely tried to prioritize that more last week, because a few weeks ago I was just constantly having like making excuses for myself, being like, well, I've got this big thing happening. It'd be like that thing of like, oh, I've got this, someone, do you want to hang out tomorrow? And it's like Tuesday, and I'm like, oh, I've got this big thing on Saturday. I do that a lot, where I'm like, oh no, there's always more work I could be doing in preparation for something, and then you just think like, the work will never end, and if anything, the things that I'm doing are creating more opportunities for more work for myself. So I'm never going to actually stop and make time to see anybody or do anything fun
I get it,
things like that. And, you can like trick yourself, especially if you work from home or like you work for yourself full-time or part-time or something. You can kind of think, oh, like, it's so cool, like I've got all this time to do this and that. But then, I had to stop and ask myself, like, but when was the last time, like, you just hung out with someone, like, and it was like, oh yeah, actually it has been like quite a while, and you kind of forget how to do it a little bit and stuff like that.
I think it's something that I've noticed about myself is that maybe I have sort of like some like low key, I wouldn't say problems to do with like forming relationships, but I feel as if that there's been multiple times in my life going back to childhood where it's been like people that I've been close to have very quickly done a 180 and sort of put a barrier up and cut me out, or been like, we don't, like, there's the barrier, there's no talking, and there's no communication. And I think that goes for me like way back into childhood, and then even into my early 20s to mid 20s, I've had like friendships with what I would consider close, very close 5 or 6 people, and the same thing has happened. It's been like, do you know what I mean? It sort of mimics the stuff that happened when I was a kid. So now it's weird, because now it's just sort of like, maybe I have a thing in my head of like, well, I don't open up myself to that much stuff. Like you can have pleasantries with people and you can know people, but in terms of like, I've got some friends and we hang out and we have consistent social rapport and we're checking in,
and that can only happen over time though, it's like that doesn't just happen overnight. It doesn't happen unless you put the time in, but it has to be equal though. It does. It can't just be you asking other people all the time to hang out, which is something tough, and like you kind of have to think, okay, the past 3 times we've seen each other, it's been me that has organised it, me that's put myself out there, and I've not really had that from you. And that doesn't even always mean that they actually just don't want to see you, but it can just be like, you know, you're busy, I'm busy, that's life, but I am making the effort here. And,
and I think that the older you get and the more you whittle that down, those people down, I actually think that your like your sensitivity to someone else's effort, you really pick up on it. So it can be this thing like, for now, it's like if I got a message off someone who I've not heard of for a while, you know, I'd be like, oh, that's nice. Like, or if someone said, hey, do you want to do something? Do you want to hang out? Do you want to go for dinner? Do you want to meet up? Do you go for a coffee? I'd be like, oh, okay, that goes a long way. But unfortunately, that doesn't really happen. It feels like it's the other way around. Or it will be this thing of, you know, virtually nothing. And then it's like, and then it's almost like a gesture of like, well, nothing's changed. And it's like, well, no, it kind of has, because I don't think that you can't go 8 months, 9, 10, 12 months, 6 months without having any contact and then being like, oh, well, it's just, things change, people change. You know?
No, that's true.
And you'd probably have more rapport with someone that you'd met in 6 months and spoke to every week, once a week, once a week, than
true.
You would have, you know. So that's been an interesting thing for me, because I guess maybe I that's maybe just something that internally I should not work on, but like the idea of putting myself out there more, to be like, well, I can just meet people and change what that kind of friendship or social thing would mean for someone like me.
Or if there's someone that you're like, I always enjoy seeing them, maybe like I'll just shoot them a message and see if they want to have a coffee, and then you do it and like you get a vibe, and if you like really enjoy it,
definitely,
then it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like, oh, like, you know, it's kind of like you're dating someone, like you kind of, oh, like, should we do this again? Like, but I want you to show me a bit of this.
That's what I mean. There has to be and again, it's that you pick up on that stuff where it's like, this can't be a me thing, and I don't want it, because that's not a friendship. Then that's kind of it's almost like a business exchange without, or you know, like,
it's just not good if it's only one-sided. And but you know, it's it's a funny one.
But that's just I feel like what I'm, you know, I think I have that's specific to me, and that's just me being honest with myself about it. I look at you and it's like, I feel like, you know, the people that you've surrounded yourself with not with like markets and work, but then just with your natural lifestyle, the people around, like all the people that you were hanging out with last week and even before that, it's like, you know, I've met them, and I've met some of them, and they seem like lovely people, and that dynamic is slightly different to what I will be experiencing
I get you,
and that's fine, because that's just you know, individual experience. But you look so much like Taylor Swift right now. I don't know if it's because I'm squinting or like, I don't really know.
What is it?
I think it's just, I think it's like the fringe, and I think it's like your skin's glowing, and you're wearing a nice summery dress. And
thanks. Oh my god, thanks.
Yeah, Taylor. Yeah.
Cheers.
Or maybe it's just because I know you've been listening to a lot of her, and I'm looking at through that lens.
Got all posters of her in my room, and I'm starting to look like it.
Our room, sweetie. So you've had it. So, but that sounds good. That sounds like a good week.
It's definitely been a good week of like balance and, you know, feeling good, and then having lots of things like that I'm like working towards, and even if some of them aren't like coming to fruition yet, I feel like the work I've been putting in this week has defo been more so than any other time this year, has been like on a different plane and things like that, like things that I've been trying to do like for my business, and the way I've been like being honest with myself about like finances and things like that. I've actually sat and done proper finances, what for, you know, feels like it definitely should have been done way earlier, but looked at things properly and thought, okay, like feeling like you're in a bit more control and not feeling like I have to feel like I'm going without wanting to spend money on myself or on things, and trying to look at it like that more, instead of, because I can easily fall into this thing where it's like, no, just don't spend a single penny on anything that isn't like essential, like rent and bills and food and stuff.
I know.
And then it can really turn me into like quite a negative, resentful feeling of like, oh well, why don't I get to do anything nice like that and things like that, or like, oh, I want a few new clothes. It's like, no, you can't have them. And it's like, oh well, that could be fun, and oh well, that costs this, and things like that. So I've tried to look at budgeting and try to think, okay, well, if I make this much in the week, and especially because we both work for ourselves, like your income could change. Well, it does change like every single week, definitely for me.
With that said though, you've been doing a lot recently to put things in place, so now that virtually every weekend you've got something solid, which is great. That's really that's an amazing achievement for someone who's gone from nothing to these 2 days are locked and that's all you. It's your business. Like that's great. That's
that's what it's great. And thinking, okay, well, sort of having some like predictions of something, so then say if you've got an idea of what you want to make that week across a few different income streams, and then I think, okay, well then I need X amount of money for essentials like rent and bills, and then food for like the month or that week. And then I want to be okay, and then I want to put X amount % in savings that we both share, that we're constantly building, that we'll use every now and then for things like car issues or like bigger purchases that we might need to invest in. And then I'll be like, okay, but I'm like, okay, but why don't I do the same thing? Why don't I just be like, okay, and then whatever I've made that week, I'll take 10%. Oh, and then so much of that X % needs to go back into the business to like buy materials, like pay for market store fees, pay for, you know, my monthly costs, like my website and things like that. But then it's like, okay, just take 10% of whatever that is that week. So if I've had a really good week, I might have a bit of money there where I'm like, okay, well, I might get this new thing, I might get this item of clothing, or I might buy this for myself, or I might put X of that towards like going to the cinema or doing this, and feeling a bit more like I've got a bit more, rather than thinking that I have to go without for ages, and this idea of like, oh no, just
laughing at the fact that there's
what is going on?
We live in a part of Liverpool where people walk around with trolleys just like outside the flat, and there they are.
Let's see.
And
oh, to be fair, it's not someone with a trolley. It's someone like moving something. To be fair, I think it wasn't like a weird dodgy trolley.
No, but it looks like a what would you call it? A personalised
it's like a delivery trolley.
A signature brand trolley.
But
it's funny, isn't it, when you get this lens of like, oh, you know, it's like we're doing the podcast. We'll set up this, because like, you know, to set up this whole room, people can't see it, but like there's a lot of
there's a lot of moving parts.
And then I was thinking, like, I was sitting down and I was like, it's hot in here. It's summer. I'll open a window.
Yeah.
I'll open and then you don't, and then it's like, oh, I'll be all right. And then, it's like, it's I think like.
And we're on a relatively quiet street, but it's just every now and then things where you're like, it's the quad bikes at the minute. Every other night we'll hear people there's like 4 people on quad bikes that go past us to go out into like the city centre. And they are so loud, like it's unbelievable how loud they are. Like they're obviously revving it.
Yeah.
And they're so loud, it sounds like there's a jet engine outside.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh my God, like why have you, an adult male, because that's who they are, chosen to go and purchase this quad bike that is obviously so loud and ride it through a residential street? Like,
what's the
it's so annoying.
What's the gratification there? Like,
they think they're cool because they're on quad bikes, and I'm like, okay, there's an element of being on a quad bike that I find cool, but only if you're in like, I don't know, Ibiza, like. Not
even then. Only if you're in a movie and the movie takes place in the early 2000s. No, and it's like rural America.
Okay,
and it's like, hey, you want to take a ride on my quad? And then it's like,
maybe.
yeah, and then they go for a ride. And
I just see them as things that are really like, you hire them for a fun day out on the desert, or like somewhere where it's like coastal and touristy and you can have fun on them, and like it's like a boy and a girl, like yay.
Yeah, exactly.
But instead these are just absolute muppets that just ride them around the town, and I hope they're listening. And
they're not.
They're defo not.
There's I feel like there's been a lot of that recently in we can go back onto what you were talking about as well with the finances and stuff, like, but you know, recently it feels like there's been a lot of It's weird how like things are like
disruption within the city.
Yeah, and well, particularly in this area, and I find that there's been things that have been exacerbating it, like the fact that the weather here for so long. It's a relatively nice day today, but for so long,
it's been pretty grim.
It's been. I mean, I don't even mean. I remember thinking back to winter, and at least there was like clear skies and sun. It was cold, but it's just been the crazy. I feel like it's been the worst summer. But then to also be walking around in that and being like, okay, there's been a massive homeless population that's building up in this specific area, which I've not seen to this extent before.
No, same.
And then the quads, and then that other night we're hearing people
shouting in the street,
and people getting chased and stuff like that. Like it's quite intense. And but again, we'll bring it back to what you were talking about. Like it's very easy for someone like me to sort of get to start feeling resentful. I mean, that's a cliche. It's like, we live in a bad area. We need to got to get out of here.
Yeah.
But I do try and look at it as a thing of like, I'm lucky enough to have the capacity, mental and physical, to be like, okay, well, if I pay attention to what I'm doing, if I get my head down, and if I can do something about this if I want to, and that would look like, building myself up and building my business and building our business, so that we could, not because this is a lovely place, but there are things and there is problems anywhere. But for every time that I look at that and go like, this is a joke, this is stupid. Where's the police? Where's the
I know. Where's like the general like respect people having, like even like litter and things like that? There's a big
culture,
thing.
Just especially on the weekends here in the city centre. It's insane. But then you just have to try and bring it back and be like, well, look, there's something you can do about this, and you have to work for it like so many other people, but you can do it and you could do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But then that brings back onto what you were
talking about. I guess just feeling a bit more like I'm not being like in denial or fearful or worried about finances and stuff. I'm trying to be more like, what am I doing every day to grow my business and to do this and invest in this and, create future potential opportunities for myself. But then also I'm trying to avoid this like scarcity mindset where I just think that, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't have to be black and white. It doesn't mean that then suddenly you can't enjoy any of like the money that you like make for yourself. You can reasonably like, to avoid that feeling of feeling like I'm not struggling or like going without in any big way, because obviously the things that are important, like the basic needs, are met. But then it's little things that you just think like, why do I feel like most people have more than one pair of shoes that they change every day, and I literally wear the same shoes to the gym, to my general everyday outfit. There's no question of what shoes I'm wearing. If I'm going anywhere nice, I don't have any shoes. I just wear my trainers that I wear every single day, everywhere.
It's a constant.
So it's like, why do I feel like that's going without? Because that's really realistic. But then I'm like, yeah, but like, it's a tough one, because then I'm like, yeah, but then it's like, do I feel like, I have to just only have this one pair of shoes? Or is it like, well, no, you could get yourself a new pair, but then maybe it's like you might have a little thing where you have like a couple of pairs on like rotation, and that's okay, because then it's like, but then some things, like I obviously wouldn't have like, some people have like 2 cars and then it's like, no, I don't think I'd ever be aiming towards this idea of having like 2 cars personally anyway. Maybe even if one day we got to a point where you and me had a car each, that would be pretty big.
I think that'd be a very unique
that'd be
scenario.
Big. Like it wouldn't be necessary. But then I'm like, because it's like, like most people probably do have more than one pair of shoes. And it's like
but I think it's important that the shoes that you do have are decent quality.
Yeah, no, they are good, but again,
and if you need,
they're only so good quality how many times you can wear them, though. If you're literally wearing them all day every day,
a lot of people do have that process though. They have one pair of shoes and they wear them, and then they wear them till and then they get a new pair. And it's the same with cars, clothes. The majority of people will be in that realm than of being, but I think it goes to a mindset. I think it's like,
It is definitely more about the mindset than the physical thing.
If for people like you and I was thinking about this in terms of like with the whole holiday thing, we've not been anywhere for a while, but it's like, say right now with where our finances are at, you know, and we know how much money we have like combined and whatever.
Yeah.
It's like if we go out and do a holiday and spend money and spend money on that holiday, it's going to be like, you know, it's like, okay, well, like maybe like a week here or a week there or 2 weeks or something, you know, something that's a decent amount of time. It's you know, in a nice place, and there's going to be certain things that we would want now that we wouldn't want when we were 17. So the idea of staying in like one small room with like when we were 17 in Paris, with no aircon, and it's the top floor, and
it's
it's
like the cheapest place.
Yeah, and it's the cheapest, but just for the sake of going and being there. I don't feel like I would want that, and I'm not saying that I would want the world. I'm not saying that I would want a 5-star hotel.
But your general like standards just go up, don't they?
Go up. But then what happen? Obviously, then what is reflected in that is the amount of money you have to spend.
So true.
That having that more freedom dictates more money. So, and then what would happen is we'd come back and be like, right, we've just spent a fair chunk. Of
our money.
Yeah, and then you'd be like, okay, so now, not that you reset, and not that your whole thing should be I need to make as much money as I can for the past, you know, but there's for me it's this thing of like, and I'm not convinced with this mindset, and I'm not saying that one is better than the other. It has to be a balance, but that idea of being like, we'll take a holiday now, you go, yeah, we could go on holiday and we could probably have a nice time and we could probably see some places, and that's important, but then we would lose a big chunk of the stuff that we've been working to build on, and we have to take that into account, and that's fine because that's what a lot of people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then the flip side of it is like, well, keep working for now, because you and I have never really been in a position where our businesses have been thriving this much, and where it's like, well, just keep your foot on the gas for a bit longer, and it's making us sacrifice now, but then in 6 to 12 months time the rewards that you would get from that would be, and what you'd see in your bank would reflect that so much that you would have more freedom to be able to do something like that, and then be
not
like,
come back and feel like we're on the back foot here.
And then be like, you know what, like we pushed that back for a couple of months. We didn't want to, because who would in the summer, but we did. And then a year, 8 to 12 months later, we had double to 3 times the amount that we had starting off,
so that it doesn't feel too like risky going on holiday, because like,
and that to me sounds like the if I was looking at that, I'd be like, well, that sounds like the smarter thing to do, but you'd have to make sure that you kept a firm hand on the thing of being like, well, just make sure that you actually reassess, and you don't then push
and not
it back,
always
and
push it back,
because
exactly.
there's more.
No, exactly.
But for where we are, it feels like, what is that the smart thing to do at this point?
No, exactly.
And that's a shame, because that's kind of a grown-up way of looking at things.
Or even like finding some kind of middle ground, like now that we've got our car back, because our car's been like out of order. Like, you know, just like stick an out of order sticker on the windshield.
It cuts to us arguing with the car.
You're out of order.
That is so out of order.
You know, like, sorry, did I peek there?
No.
Okay.
No.
But yeah, because our car's been like buggered for so long, like for like nearly a month, we've not had a car, and obviously a car.
Buggered. That's
buggered.
funny, yeah.
A car, like, obviously is a huge luxury that we've been lucky to have for like the past few years, and then obviously going without it, then of like me back and forth on the train to Manchester, you back and forth on the train in taxis, like, you know, we've been like taking scooters and stuff around places. Like, now that we've got that back, and we were both talking the other night, weren't we, about like how like this new sense of fan freedom we've got with it, of being able to just go on our own accord and go further and not worry about trains. And even like if we were like, okay, let's not book 2 weeks in Tenerife, that's going to cost us potentially over $1,000, maybe more, like 1,500 realistically.
Probably, yeah.
Let's like book a night or 2 nights, like Airbnb, maybe a couple £100, like, you know, and then like go on like a nice hike in some woods, stay somewhere nice, like with a bit of a view, like, you know, go swimming. I don't know, like do something like that, where it's like we can like look forward to it. Because last year we did that a couple of times. We went to Wales, and we went to like Hay on Wye, that Bucktown place.
Yeah, no, it was nice.
And, you know, or even like, I know Cornwall's quite far, but even looking into a really nice, like some of the best like beaches, or
definitely
a pebble beach where like a swim in the sea, and like treat it as if it's like a mini break of like, we've got like, you know, 2 nights there where we drive, we stay somewhere, you know, we like see a bit of nature, we switch off a bit, we like have a bit of like just do things for fun. And then it's like, because even the idea of that would feel so like replenishing and refreshing. So maybe it's like thinking, and again, this is like social media at its worst, is all I see at the minute is everyone and their bloody nanas in Mallorca and like swimming in the blue sea and snorkeling and having like, you know, not that I drink, but I'm like looking at their cocktails over the sunset and people on boats. And I'm like, why am I on a bloody boat? Like, little things like that.
But I think there's also something important about the idea of being like, if you and I worked hard enough, and if we, and I get, you know, this is also this is a trap of like capitalism.
It can be, yeah.
But of being like, if we worked hard enough and consistently seeing where we are right now and how things are growing now, if we kept working towards that and kept developing, in 10 years, which is a long time, and you know, tomorrow's not promised, today's a gift, and you know,
Kung Fu Panda.
You could be in a, I think that's just a general like
I've only ever heard that on Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, the specific way of Master Oogway says it, yeah. But Master Oogway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the quote again? It's like, yesterday's a mystery.
Yesterday was a mystery.
Oh no, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today is a gift, which is why they call it the present.
That's it. And then I think he dies straight off, doesn't he?
Oh.
I die, I must go.
No, I'm Jack Black. No.
But you know,
sorry,
that
go on.
Because like how does anyone who wasn't born into money or gets a massive lump sum or whatever, how does anyone that's born into, you know, not, you know,
poverty.
Just not poverty, but who's born into just, you know, humble
working
beginnings,
class, no inheritance,
no inheritance, no money coming in, and it's you, how does anyone get from being like, well, we take our holiday in the summer and we have our 2 weeks here and we do our 2 weeks there, and then there's 2 weeks, so there's 6 weeks out the year or whatever it is. How do you go from that, but the other 300 days, you know, are here, to, well, actually, you know, our 300 days are here where it is sunny and it is nice and there is, you know, all year round it's good, and like
the lifestyle is not holiday-esque because you're working quite a lot, but the opportunities that you'd have for the weather, of going to the beach, of going to like a nature reserve.
You don't have to wait till summer.
You don't have to wait till summer. You don't have to save up all year to go to it. No. Yeah, it kind of is there.
And how does anyone do that? Well, I feel as if for people in our position, it's like, well, for us, it's for anyone. For anyone, it's like you work at something hard enough. You might work your way up through a company, or you might make your own company and build on that and try and double down and develop that to the point where then eventually you're in a position where it's like, you know, like we could take this somewhere else, and we could set up somewhere else, so that it's like, okay, well, I sacrificed a bunch of holidays. I watched other people go on holiday, and that was tough, and I watched other people, you know, going out and doing this stuff, and that was tough, and I still did. I did a bit of that, you know. I didn't just lock myself in a room,
you can't
I didn't follow the penny, and every time
you can't do that, because then what happens if it's 10 years later and you aren't in the financial position despite how hard you've worked,
or you get a horrible
illness,
exactly, or someone close to you.
So it's tough, isn't it? It's like living in the now, but then thinking for the future. And I guess, like, you know, like, I feel like lately I'm bringing everything back to going to the gym, but going to the gym, it's like, bad thing. I know, like, you know, you turn up to the gym one day, it will make
one day you go to the gym one day, like, it won't make any difference really, because you've only gone that one day. Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you need to, like, it needs to become part of your like habits, your lifestyle, your, like, you know, there's rituals that you have there.
You have to get comfortable with the idea that you're going to go through quite a bit of pain or struggle. Yeah. And for a long time, you're going to see nothing.
It will feel like that, and you won't see anything.
Yeah. You have to get very comfortable with that idea. Yeah. And it's the same with money, or it's the same, or not with money, inadvertently maybe, but
well,
the same with let's go on, you finish.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, you know, you go every day, but then at some point it kind of turns into something else where you're not going because you feel like you have to, like you're going because you want to and you get to. That's the shift, I think, is like you get to. And so, you know, even talking about like sacrifice and stuff, like I like the idea of not feeling like I ever sacrifice or like go without or feel like I'm restricting.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's turning like, you know, so today we'll finish up the poddy, we'll get it all uploaded, we'll work on like the content and the social media side of it. We'll get that done. And that's not like, oh, I have to. That's a sacrifice. Yeah, it's like, no, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, like you get to do that. And then suddenly that becomes like the gym, it suddenly becomes like, you know, you're privileged to do that. And yeah, it can be a bit stressful sometimes. And yeah, you might not be seeing the rewards right now or reaping the benefits of it right now. But accumulatively, it's the investment into yourself over a long period of time that means the most. And you know, I've got a few things this week, like just my own business that I need to do. And it's like, yeah, but like you get to do these things.
Yeah.
And they're not like sacrifices, you know, like I don't feel like I'm sacrificing my time for my business in order for it to go huge and then be a millionaire. It's like...
And don't you feel as well that there's something interesting in like the relationship between like when we first started going to the gym and when for me definitely, I would be like, don't have, you know, I used to love Domino's and I'd be like, you're not going to have a Domino's now for a week and then you're going to have one Domino's as a treat and that's it. And I would, all week, I'd be like, I want that so bad, I want it now. And I'd push it back and I'd push it back and then I'd get to it and I'd be like, this is amazing. And then that happened for months. And now, I wouldn't eat at Domino's now. I just wouldn't. I'd sooner, and I wouldn't eat at McDonald's, and I wouldn't eat takeout. Nando's is literally the only thing that
Nando's
I can think
is not
of.
Takeout though, because you can't. Yeah, you can turn up to Nando's and ask for your meal to take away, but you can't queue up, and then get it in a bag for you to go.
And it does feel different. I do. And
it's a restaurant that has takeaway.
Anyway, we could, I love Nando's.
We love Nando's.
UK.
Imagine getting sponsored by Nando's.
But we have to wear chicken suits for the whole thing.
I'd do it.
And after every end point, we have to go. But I didn't like. I loved that stuff, and then I went. Now it's like you couldn't pay me to do it because it's not as if that I'm delaying anything.
Yeah.
I just don't want it, and I know how much better my life is when I don't have it, and when I put eating good nutritious food on the day to day.
Yeah.
That is the reward.
Yeah, you enjoy it.
And it's the same.
It's not like you eat just like dry salads all week and then have a Nando's.
Yeah, no, it's balanced, but it's like
or a Domino's. Sorry, like
It's balanced, but the balance has changed. It's like the balance now might be like I have a home cooked meal, but within that meal there is a bit more like chorizo because I know that's a bit of a bad treat, meat, or I might have a few little chockies at the end of the week just with a cup of tea. Is that that's something? But it's
that's so good though, because I know you used to struggle with that a lot. You used to be very like
fat.
You used to be very black and white, like
all
or nothing, which sometimes I think is an amazing attribute, and it's something that in a lot of ways still stands up and that I still try and replicate, as in like all or nothing, as in don't like limit yourself, like always like just go for it. And then in the same time, like if there's something there that you don't like and it's uncomfortable, don't run away from it, like go all in. But you've done really well to reach this point now where like not only do you look great, but you're mentally at a place where you're not punishing yourself or like restricting yourself. You're enjoying all of your food, and you're right, it has shifted from like feeling like you put these certain meals and these experiences on a pedestal and waiting for them, when really with the right attitude and lens, every day can become that.
That's right.
Like brekkie, literally for my brekkie today I had 3 eggs, just like bit of olive oil, 3 eggs, salt, pepper, like bit of paprika, and then just like half an avocado sliced on top with my favourite hot sauce.
You take your supplements? You've got some supplements?
No, but I mean, I enjoy it so much. Like, I seriously love that brekkie, and I have it every single day. It's not like, oh, for God's sake, I have this like every day. It's annoying.
But that's, you see, that's why for us, it's like the idea of like, and this isn't the same for everybody, but growing up, what I would see is like, people work at a job that they don't like, and then
complain about,
and then they have the holiday, and that's like the thing that they're delaying. That's the delayed treat, and then they have it. It's amazing.
And then when they come back,
and there's the blues. It's like, oh, back into it. You just back into that routine.
It's crazy how much that's normalised, like post-holiday blues and stuff. And I get it to an extent. You know, when we come back from the spa, we're like, oh, like we feel a little bit of that, like, oh, like wouldn't you just love that every day?
Yeah, but then
there's an element of that though where I'm like, yeah, because like we love like cold showers and saunas. Yeah, we do want that every day. That's a good thing to want every day. The idea of people going on holiday to like totally escape the horror that is their like workplace or their like home life or their home country and stuff, like that's a bit tough, because then it's like you're just constantly chasing that. And then you have it and you relish it, but then it's gone.
But that's what I mean. I would say that's more the trap. That's the bigger trap out of the two, of being like, well, if you keep doing that, you're definitely probably gonna
be resentful and regretful.
Well, that's gonna become quickly habitualized. You're gonna work and keep working at something that you're potentially not that happy with.
Yeah.
Time's gonna go on, so it's gonna be less likely that you're gonna start investing in yourself.
True.
And then those things like the holidays or the going out on the weekends and having the time at the weekend to do whatever it is that you want to do. That is the trap, more so than the thing of being like, well, don't
work hard at something that you want to do,
so that you
and sacrifice.
But it's not sacrifice, is it?
Because you and I, just more or less,
we enjoy our day to day.
We do.
You'll be doing your thing, I'll be doing my thing. We'll be hanging out. We'll be, hey, should we do this? Should we do that?
Yeah.
Money's coming in.
We have a lot of like, we create our own schedules. It's not like, oh, we have loads of free time.
Yeah.
But we create our own schedules, as in like, what we're going to be doing that day, like our tasks, what we need to do, places we need to be. Sometimes if you've got gigs and I've got markets, you kind of have to be somewhere. But the luxury of just having your own schedule to make, and then the free time then you have to try and dictate for yourself is sometimes tough, because for me, free time sometimes means like, oh, cute admin, and it's like, that's still work.
No, my free, like, it's the same. It's like, what's my free time is editing now.
Yeah.
And like being like, okay, maybe I might play, like 30 minutes or read a book at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's the free time, and it's like, but that's that would sound horrible if what I was doing in that time I hated, and I just thought, get me out of it.
Yeah, but counting down the minutes.
Every time I wake up and I'm
like,
doing something,
not enough minutes in the day, mate. Not need it to be 5 o'clock.
So I always think, and like with you do see that the holiday stuff and with the spa and stuff, like it's like, okay, those things do feel like luxuries, but they don't have to. You and I or anyone would just have to sit and be like, well, if that's something that you want to make into a reality, not the idea of being like, oh well, yeah, like I'd love to just pick up my things and move to Barbados and live on a beach. It's like, no, well, that's
doesn't need to be like that.
It doesn't need to be like that, but and also,
where's the purpose there? Like, yeah,
and it's great. I feel as if that the things that you and I are doing for business wise, and even with this, but with our own things, it's like we enjoy the things that we do. We find that it gives us purpose. It's good for the world. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's slowly becoming something that you can make money from.
Yeah.
Or not slowly, like we can make money from it.
Yeah, it's like, potential there. Yeah.
So it's
just the potential, isn't it? Like, if you do something and, okay, it might not immediately overnight, like going to get a job, you will sign a contract and then immediately when you turn up for that job, you're being paid for it. Whereas doing this podcast, it's like we turn up to it like every week and then we do the work for it, like the editing, the content and stuff, and no one like pays us for it or anything, but it's like the potential there of us having deciding to do that, and then it could go somewhere. And then it's like, imagine if we did in some way have an income from the podcast that we've gotten through like hard work. That is, I'd much rather do that than immediately go to a job that I don't want just for that immediate money, you know.
And if it's based on anything of both of our track records, that's more than likely that would happen.
Yeah.
But again, and that's not I don't sit here trying to think how much money can I make from this. It's a thing of, well, you know, I know that in the past when I've
put my mind to stuff,
when I've acted on my intuition and been like, here's something that I like doing, how can I then do it to try and get some money out of? I've been able to do it, and so have you. And that whole thing about, well, the opportunity's not there, so we'll just make the opportunity.
Yeah,
it works. It's a practice that clearly works.
Yeah.
And also just having that gratitude of being like, right now, you and I can wake up and we can have that. We can be like, yeah, great, you feeling good? Everything good? Let's go and attack some stuff. Let's go and make a video in Bean. Let's go and try and be funny. Let's go and, you know, make some stuff and get into some people's faces to get stock. You know, it's always good to have that thing on your shoulder of just being like, you could wake up tomorrow, something could come knocking, and everything just gets totally swept under you, and you'd wish to be able to go back just to go for that grant, just to feel that thing of being like, no, I'm working, I'm healthy, I've got purpose, everyone's good, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, it's important to check that daily, I think.
So true.
Podcast things.
Podcast.
And if a heartbeat goes, I'm there, and then I like to see that all my girl is Betty. And when you take off your glasses, that's a Taylor Swift song called Betty's Glasses.
Beautiful.
That's my favourite one, actually, of Taylor's. Yeah. Taylor Swift, Taylor Hawking, Stephen Hawking. It's been a pleasure being able to do this for you guys, and we're
Thanks
so
much
grateful
for listening, everyone.
that so many people are continuing to listen to the podcast.
Yeah, it means a lot.
Season 3, what's that, 30 episodes?
Yeah.
Wow.
30 episodes, 30 weeks we've done it.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
That is.
And we're just really excited. I know, you know, hopefully.
We may or may not have some things to announce on the next poddy.
I wish I could tell you, but because it's not been finalised.
We don't know yet now. But we're trying. We're putting things out there.
Yeah, we are.
So we'll see. But yeah.
Have a great week.
Have a lovely
week,
guys.
Thanks so much for listening, and we will catch you guys next week.
See y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Boom, 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 boom.